Yo, what's good, everybody? It's your boy, Farrell Battle, and today we're going to be reviewing Summerslam 2026 Night 1. Just finished watching it last night with my homeboy. It was fire, I'm not going to lie. It was a pretty good show, but we're going to go in order. So, the first match that we're going to go over is Liv Morgan versus Io Sky. That was the very first match of the night. Liv and Io were going one-on-one for the Women's World Championship. The match itself was a really good match. It was a really solid match. I liked it a lot. It was some good spots, you know what I'm saying? And I felt like it was a lot of, you really didn't know who, that was one of the ones you really didn't know who would win exactly. You know what I'm saying? Because on one hand, if you had been paying attention to Raw for the past few, for the past few weeks or so since Queen of the Ring coming into SummerSlam, it did look like they were building up to Io winning because Liv kept getting the drop on Io a lot. But at the same time, SummerSlam Night 1 was literally Liv's first defense since WrestleMania. Like, it was literally her first defense since WrestleMania. And so that's honestly a reason why that was a match I wasn't mad at whoever won. Whether Io won or Liv retained, I was going to be happy with the result. Now, the only thing that I'm waiting for is what happens after that match. But I do want to say that, honestly, Io and Liv really have great chemistry. They really do. Because I've only seen three matches now from both of them. The first one was Saturday Night's Main Event in 2024 when Liv defended her title against Io again. And that was actually, I think that was like the only time that whole year in 2024 that she retained the title clean. She beat Io clean. Judgment Day did not even interfere in that one. She beat her clean. But it was still it was a banger of a match regardless. Still a banger of a match. The Queen of the Ring tournament, again, banger of a match, of course. And, of course, now this one, again, banger of a match. Like, I think those two really just have great chemistry. And that's why they're some of my favorites in the ring right now. And I hope we honestly see more out of those two. But after this match, I just hope that we see more out of Liv now. Because I feel like they kind of fumbled her reign up until this point. You can still save it. She's still the champion, so you can still save it. And actually start making storylines with her. Actually start having her do something. She's your Women's World Champion. But overall, the match was a banger. The match was solid. I'm not mad at the winner. I'm not mad with the result. All I'm going to be waiting for is what happens next, basically. But for me, 8 out of 10. Not going to lie. Nothing wrong with the match at all. Honestly, I'm... Not 8 out of 10. Honestly, 8 or 8.5. I would... 8 or 8.5 out of 10 for Io Sky versus Liv Morgan. Solid match, banger. The next match that came right after that was the 6-man tag match between LA Knight, Solo Sikoa, and Royce Keys teaming up against Jimmy and Jey Uso and Jacob Fatu. Now, first off, I just want to start off by saying, love face Solo. So glad that they did not fucking turn Solo heel or anything, because honestly, that kind of would have killed the match a little bit for me. Because Solo is so much better as a face than he was as a heel. He's so much better as a face than he was as a heel. The dude is honestly funny as hell, and he's charismatic as fuck. Like, seriously. A face role fits him a lot. It's made him much more interesting. And honestly, he's really going up to becoming one of my favorites on the roster now. Like, for real. But, personally, I'm glad that they did win. I feel like LA, Solo, and Royce kind of needed to win more than the Usos and Jacob. You know what I'm saying? Jacob is still one of my favorites, but I still know how I feel about him just being another enforcer in the bloodline yet again, basically. But it is what it is. But yeah, it was a good solid match. You know what I'm saying? It was some good spots. I feel like everything really just came naturally. It was Jay sold the hell out of that BFT. I'm not going to cap. He definitely sold the hell out of that shit. It was some good selling. It was just good overall. It wasn't like the greatest thing ever. But at the same time, it was just a solid match. It was a solid men's tag team match. A solid 6-man tag match, Now, again, not necessarily like Io versus Liv, but one thing I do wonder is if we may see maybe more team-ups between the three, Royce, LA, and Solo. Probably not. I wouldn't really expect it. But, we even saw LA actually, even hugging Solo at the end and everything. Like, they Solo dapping up Royce. Like, they finally on a good... They finally on the same page because obviously LA and Royce did not trust Solo for good reason, right? But Solo proved himself. He's still a face. I'm glad to see that. I'm very interested to see where they take Solo from here, though, because honestly, if they keep going with Solo the way that they're going, I mean, hell, I don't know, but I'm hoping to see big things for all three of them in the future. At the end of the day, solid match. I enjoyed it. It was a good one. Okay, now after the 6-man tag match was the singles match between Gunther and Nick Aldis. Now, so for me, this is my first time ever seeing Nick Aldis in the ring. I know he used to be in TNA. They said he was a former TNA World Champion and everything. I knew he used to be a former wrestler. I'm pretty sure Adam Pearce also used to be a former wrestler. But, like I said, this is my first time seeing Nick Aldis in the ring. So, as for the match itself, the match was pretty good. I did enjoy it. It made sense that Gunther won because, I mean, honestly, you would kind of make Gunther look weak as fuck by having him lose. Honestly, like you kind of would. But they still had Nick Aldis like they still had Nick Aldis made him kind of work for it a little bit, like not work for it like crazy, but he still he put in some effort, he put in some work. Like they made it seem like that because I had always been hearing about how Nick Aldis really can go in the ring, and I mean he really can go in the ring. I mean you stand toe to toe with Gunther, who is, I mean he is probably one of if not the best technical wrestler right now in the company, honestly. Definitely one of the best. Like seriously, I mean, I like a lot of people do be sleeping on Gunther, but he really does have some like when he can go. When he can go, he can go. Honestly, that really is what it is. I just feel like a lot of character decisions regarding Gunther, a lot of writing decisions has kind of like diminished him a little bit. But at the end of the day, he's still an elite athlete at the end of the day. And so yeah, the match between him and Nick Aldis, I was definitely looking forward to it because I was looking forward to seeing what Nick can do. And I mean, Nick can definitely go. And as I assumed, what would happen is apparently what is gonna happen because afterwards they announced that Nick Aldis will be returning to SmackDown as the GM and everything. So it looks like that was more of a one-time thing. I did wonder if we might see Nick Aldis in the ring a little more. Um, After that match, we might see him in the ring a little more often, but it doesn't really seem like so. It does seem like that was more of a one-time thing, which is fine because he's just fine as a GM. But I wouldn't mind seeing another match from Nick. Nick is only like what 38. He's only like 38 or 39 years old. Gunther's like the same age, like he's like 39 as well. Your top guy, literally the undisputed champion right now is like 47. He's like 47, so he might be older than that. But he's in his late 40s, So if they can still go, Nick and Gunther and all like they especially Nick, he can definitely still go as well. You know what I'm saying? But at the end of the day, it was a good match, solid match. That's another one. Honestly, I would probably say was a good like 7 out of 10. A good 7 out of 10. That's pretty much like the standard. Basically, like there wasn't really anything bad with it. It wasn't like a lot of botches or it wasn't a lot of like it was just a pretty good solid match that had the right winner. I honestly might have ranked it a little lower if Nick won, and it's not because Nick is a bad wrestler. It's because I mean, he's the general manager, and Gunther is supposed to be literally one of the most dominant athletes in the company right now. So it's just like, it's just character wise as a main thing. But it was definitely good regardless. Definitely good. The little feel good moment with Nick and Mickey James and and a kid and everything afterwards and all that. But yeah, though the match, like I said, the match was 7 out of 10, pretty good. It was the 6 women's tag match between Fatal Influence, JC Jane, Fallon Henley, and Lainey Reed versus Nikki and Brie Bella, along with Paige. Now, the women's tag match, I'm not gonna lie, I feel like the women's tag match and the men's tag match were kind of on the same wavelength a little bit. I feel like one was not necessarily better than the other. Like they were both just as good, but I do feel like the women's tag match was probably a little better. Not crazy better where it just blew the shit out of the water, but it was still a little better because I feel like it was a little bit more fluidity in there and everything. It was a great showing for Fatal Influence. I'm really happy that they got the win because honestly, I 100% expected Nikki and Brie Bella with Paige to win. I 100% expected those three to win. So I'm really glad that Fatal Influence got the win because they needed to pick up some more momentum. Fatal Influence is one of my favorite acts in WWE right now. Like, for real, they're one of my favorite acts in WWE right now. Ever since, like, if you watched all their stuff at NXT, hell, ever since they came on the main roster, they first came to the main roster, had crazy dominant Mysterio levels of heat, you know, and it started to feel like they just cooled off of them, you know, and especially when JC didn't even get in the women's qualifier, but you know they won the tag titles, they won the 6 women's tag at SummerSlam now, so I'm just hoping for more good things to come. Maybe we see JC Jane in the Money in the Bank, in the women's Money in the Bank. We really should see her in that. I don't know if she'll win or not because I have like 3 different candidates that I would she's one of them. I have like 3 candidates that I would have for winning the women's Money in the Bank later on. But at the end of the day, I'm just hoping that it means more things to come for Fatal Influence. I'm glad that they won at a stage like SummerSlam. And mind you, they just debuted on the main roster like a few months ago. So this is good for them, and I'm hoping that we see more. You know what I'm saying? I'm hoping that it doesn't just get that they don't cool down from them yet again. They don't get resorted to just background and not really doing anything. And of course, I think the main highlight of that match though was of course Nikki Bella turning on Paige. I'm not really gonna say Nikki and Brie Bella because it was really just Nikki. I mean, you can say Brie because Brie did not stop Nikki. She didn't stop her. She didn't get in between them. She didn't back her off like, yo, what the fuck is you doing? She just kind of looked at her like, damn. And then kept it pushing. I mean, hey, look, you know, but honestly, I think that was definitely a highlight of it. Even though it might have been obvious, I feel like, well, maybe not obvious necessarily, because I feel like you knew a heel turn was gonna come. As soon as Nikki Bella got cleared, I knew a heel turn was coming. It was not just gonna keep being Brie and Paige. Hell no, a heel turn was gonna happen. But I don't think I expected it maybe that soon. Maybe because I didn't even expect them to lose. But the second it showed the camera on them still in the ring, and I was like, oh yeah, she about to beat her ass. But so honestly, I'm just hoping to see where they go from here. We did see that Brie was holding her shoulder a lot, and they did confirm that she had a shoulder injury, which is not very good. So I'm hoping that it's nothing serious. If it is, that's some really shitty timing. I mean, dude, Nikki Bella just came back from a knee injury, and almost immediately when she comes back, now Brie is hurt. That like damn, that really fucking sucks. But yeah though, so I mean, yeah, like I said, it's just really unfortunate timing, and I hope that it's not too serious. You know what I'm saying? I saw a post that was saying that she was at the hospital like right after the show, I think, or right after the match probably. So I think she's getting checked up. Hopefully it's nothing too serious. Like I said, hopefully she heals up quick. It's not that bad, because if she is out for a while, that's going to derail even more plans. And, I mean, you already know what happens when plans get derailed. When plans get derailed, these niggas don't know how to book shit. So, yeah. But, yeah, like I said, though, it was a solid match regardless. You know what I'm saying? It was a solid match. The right winners won. Because, honestly, Fatal Influence needed that win way more than the Hall of Famers. I know that Paige is in the Hall of Famer, but come on. She will be. Come on now. Stop playing. But, you know, I just hope that... Again, it's another case of I wonder where they take things from here. I wonder where they go with Fatal Influence from here. Are we going to see JC in the Money in the Bank? We should. With Paige, I'm really curious as to what they're going to do with Paige, because, I mean, it was obvious. It does seem obvious that Paige obviously was going to be feuding with the Bellas. Maybe AJ Lee returns. Paige and her team up like old times. Paige and AJ Lee versus the Bella Twins. I mean, come on. But now with Brie potentially being hurt, maybe they might just do a singles feud with her and Nikki. So, who knows? I don't know. But anyway, though, like I said, solid match. It's another one where I would rank it like 7 or 7.5 out of 10. You know, wasn't really anything wrong with it at all. It was a pretty solid match. Okay, the next match was CM Punk versus Cody Rhodes for the undisputed WWE Championship. Personally, that match was my match of the night. That was my favorite match of the night, not gonna lie. Honestly, it was a banger. Like, for real, it was a banger. The feud that we took to get here, was kind of weak. It wasn't as, like, yeah, the feud that we had to get here was kind of weak because it honestly wasn't really much of a build. It was just kind of, hey, let's fight, I bet. And I mean, you know, when you do it just a few weeks before SummerSlam, I guess that's what would happen. It wasn't necessarily like a terrible feud, but it was just like, okay, whatever, we're getting the match. But honestly, I mean, the match itself made up for it. I mean, you had some really good spots, a lot of technicality, a lot of like it was just a good all around solid match. Like hell, and the table you had the table spot. You know, Punk jumping through the fucking Cody rolling out of the way, Punk crashing through the table and everything. You know, it really made you think like, damn, like you don't know what's about to happen. I expected Punk to retain, but I know some people would probably um some things will ruin it for some people that will probably feel like it shouldn't have had an interference, because for me the highlight of the match was, of course, Randy Orton returning. We hadn't seen Randy Orton since WrestleMania 42. We hadn't seen Randy Orton since WrestleMania 42 night one. And you know, last night he returned when the referee was down. He went into the ring, hit Cody with an RKO, slid back out. Punk, he did like one more GTS on Cody, and then that was it. 1, 2, 3. But I liked it most of all because I mean we needed Randy back. I miss Randy. You feel me? It's another motherfucker that I need to return to. That might be returning real soon. I miss that man. But he might be coming back real soon. Hopefully. We need him on the mic again. We need him in the ring again. We need him to pick this shit back up. But yeah, though, like, the match was just, I feel like it was just kind of everything that we kind of expected. Like, you hear CM Punk versus Cody Rhodes, and it's like, that's the match that you want to see. It was the match that we wanted to see. We got it. And it was great. And honestly, dare I say, it low-key should have been the main event. I'm not going to cap. And it pains me to say that, because I'm going to be talking about the main event in a couple of minutes here, but it low-key should have been the main event. I would not have been mad at it at all. It, like I said, personal favorite match of the night. I would honestly rate it 9 out of 10. Like, straight up 9 out of 10. Because it was a really good match. I really enjoyed it a lot. Only thing I would say, I wouldn't necessarily say it was better than Punk versus Roman. I feel like Punk versus Roman had, like, I don't know, the tensions felt way higher with Punk versus Roman, because it was two guys who during their feud, at least the beginning of their feud, made you these niggas hate each other, you know. Whereas the whole thing with Cody and Punk was just, yeah, we're friends, but let's fight. And it's like, I mean, that happens, that's cool, but it's like, you're always gonna want to prefer a feud in wrestling where two guys seemingly dead ass want to murder each other versus two guys who are like, oh no, we homies though. You know what I'm saying? It's like, it just builds more tension that way. And honestly, the fact that you really didn't know who may or may not have won, but it was honestly almost like a foregone conclusion that Punk was retaining at SummerSlam, because we kind of figured that. But overall, like I said, it was a really great match. Best match of the night for me. 9 out of 10. The next match after Punk versus Cody was the main event of the night, Obafemi versus Brock Lesnar in the Hell in a Cell. Now, earlier I said that Punk versus Cody should have been the main event. And the reason I say that is because I feel like they did not do enough with this match. This could have been a no DQ match. It could have been falls count anywhere. It could have been a street fight. Like, for a Hell in a Cell in the main event of SummerSlam, it's like, I'm gonna start out by saying this. The match itself was good. It's not like it was just bad wrestling. The match itself was good. I do feel like it just ended kind of abruptly, though. Like, I didn't expect it to really end when it ended, honestly. It felt almost abrupt, you know? We had a few hits with a steel chair, one little table spot, you know, Irish whipping into the table, but that was like it. And it felt so tame for a Hell in a Cell match. Like, when you think Hell in a Cell, you thinking of shit like Undertaker versus Mankind. When you think of Hell in a Cell, you think of shit like Triple H versus Undertaker with Shawn Michaels as a special guest referee. When you think of Hell in a Cell, you thinking of shit like Drew McIntyre versus CM Punk 2024. Like, dog. Like, bro, that match was, like, dude, like, that's what you think of when you think of Hell in a Cell. You think of two guys that hate each other so bad that they deadass want to kill each other. That's what a Hell in a Cell is supposed to feel like. Like, this is Brock Lesnar and Obafemi. The way that they've been hyping the match up, the way that they've been building a feud, the fact that it was one of the best feuds leading into SummerSlam. Dare I say the best feud leading into SummerSlam, honestly. It was the match that I was the most hyped for, the most excited for. And like they presented it as two titans in the wrestling industry. Two titans of the wrestling industry clashing. Clashing in a final one-on-one to see who's truly the top dog. Like I wanted to see a war. They didn't go to war. It just felt so tame. It felt like I was sitting there at the end of the day. I was like, damn, that's it. I don't know. I expected more. I think my expectations were just so high because of how it was presented, how it was built. I mean, hell, how it was presented especially. They presented the shit like a fucking movie. You know, for the promos for the fucking match, they was talking about like Act 1, Act 2, or Part 1, Part 2, whatever. Part 1, 2, 3. It was literally like a movie trailer on some shit. Because it was like a whole saga. And it just felt tame. And I'm just kind of, I don't know, I just feel kind of disappointed. I feel kind of disappointed because I've seen much better matches out of the both of them. Especially Oba. Like, dude, watch all of his shit in NXT. I'm thinking of Stand and Deliver 2025, Oba Femi versus Javon Evans versus Trick Williams. Hell, Heatwave 2025, Oba Femi versus Javon Evans. Hell, like honestly, a lot of his matches in 2020, like a lot. And honestly, it honestly is almost starting to feel like Oba is low key just being held back a little bit since coming up to the main roster, which is crazy to say that he's being held back because he's literally being positioned as the next big thing. I do like at the end the whole passing of the torch with Brock and Oba. You know, the whole little speech at the end, everything where, you know, Brock was like, he literally he hugged Oba, raised his hand and was like, hey, this the future right here. I like that shit. I love that. But the match itself, it just felt disappointing because I felt like we needed to see these two Titans really feel like dude, the feud leading into SummerSlam felt more intense than the match itself. How the hell does that make sense? I mean, seriously. Like, watch their feud leading into SummerSlam. Every time Oba looked at Brock, hell, Oba told Paul Heyman, he told Paul directly, this time I'm fighting to kill him. They weren't fighting to kill each other. Now, to be fair, I believe that Oba said that on the Lead to Clash in Italy, but still, it's like, you two are supposed to be fighting to kill each other. And I feel like that just didn't really happen. It was almost like a regular wrestling match. It was like a regular no DQ. Like, it's Hell in a Cell. I mean, look, I knew we probably weren't going to get Oba or Brock slamming one another through the fucking wall and breaking the cage and shit. We probably weren't going to get that. I get that. But, like, we could have got, like some blood. We could have got, like, a good 30-minute banger. Like, I'm saying, bro, it felt short. It felt short. It ended abrupt, and I feel like they didn't really do enough. Like, they didn't do that much. And, you know, maybe, I mean, I don't know. I don't know if it's an age thing because Brock is, like, what, 50? But, I mean, hell, look at how Rey Mysterio still be moving in the ring. He be doing all this crazy shit, and I think he's older than Brock. So it's just like, I don't know. But then again, I don't know. But it just felt disappointing, you know? And I think that's why the rating that I would give the match, honestly, the match itself, mainly because of that, I honestly want to give it like a 6.5 to a 7 out of 10. Because it just didn't feel, like, I don't know, it felt dissatisfying. It didn't feel satisfying. It didn't feel like a satisfying conclusion to a saga that's been built up since before WrestleMania. You know, like, they've been building Oba up to really and truly be the next big thing. And I feel like it didn't have a satisfying conclusion. It was just kind of abrupt, you know, and I feel like that's a little disappointing because it's like, damn, like, I really wanted to see them go to war for real. Like, I was ready to be like, oh yeah, that's gonna be my match of the night, and it was not. It wasn't my match of the night. I'm just like, damn. It just felt disappointing in that aspect. Like I said, it was still a good match physically and everything. It's not like it was a terrible match. No, I've seen far worse. It was still a good match physically and everything. And you know, they had some weapons a little bit, but again, I just feel like I feel like they did not, for a Hell in a Cell match. It was very tame. Like, it was very tame. It's like the unsanctioned match between Jacob and Drew at WrestleMania. Like, it was a good match itself, but for it to be unsanctioned at WrestleMania, you expected a lot more, especially when the build between those two leading into WrestleMania was literally like, I mean, hell, literally on SmackDown before WrestleMania, they dead ass almost killed each other. Like, they jumped off like a fucking 20-foot drop or something. But so yeah, it was like that with Brock and Oba here. Like, you see the build up leading into SummerSlam, and it's like they genuinely want to kill each other. At least Oba dead ass wanted to kill Brock. But then we get to the match, and they're just like, I don't know. It just felt very tame to me. But that's about it though, honestly. My overall rating for the show is about a 7.5 out of 10. Because like I said, I did enjoy the show overall. I will say SummerSlam Night 1 was a lot better than WrestleMania Night 1. I don't know what they were doing with WrestleMania Night 1. I guess maybe they wanted to, I don't know, they wanted more ads or something. Literally, like, I said Oba versus Brock ended abruptly last night. WrestleMania Night 1 had like every single match being like, what, 5 minutes long? 6, 7 minutes long, 8 minutes. Like, it wasn't good, bro. It was not that good. Except for like the main event. I think that was the only one that got over like 15, which is crazy for Wrestle fucking Mania. But that's the only thing I will say. That SummerSlam Night 1 was at least better than WrestleMania. And a lot of the things, see, the thing about SummerSlam Night 1 is a lot of the stuff really just has me wondering, okay, what's going to happen next? Like, where are we going to go from here? Because you got these people that don't want these matches, but it's like, okay, now we got to keep building. We got to keep building on that momentum. But other than that, though, it was a solid show. There were some disappointing aspects, of course, as there always are. But it wasn't really terrible. It wasn't a bad show. I've seen worse. Like I said, 7.5 out of 10. Pretty solid. I enjoyed most of the matches. My favorite match, like I said, was Punk versus Cody. And honestly, my second favorite was probably Io versus Liv. I'm not gonna lie. Probably Io versus Liv. Like I said, the Oba versus Brock one, I really just feel like they should have did more. And I honestly hope that his feud with Brock has got to be done. So I'm honestly hoping that after this, they really let Oba just cook. Let Oba cook for a good 15, 20 minutes. He don't have to be doing 30 to 40 minutes. He could. But let him cook for a good 15, 20 and see what he can really do for real, for real. Like, I don't know. I don't know if it's maybe Oba and Brock don't have the greatest chemistry. Maybe not. That can happen. But either way, though, at the end of the day, that's all it is. I'm going to go ahead and end it here, though. Hope you guys enjoyed. If you did, be sure to like button, be sure to subscribe if you want to see more. There's going to be plenty more to come from here. And I will be uploading Night 2 review tomorrow because I'm going to be watching Night 2 tonight. So stay tuned for that. Catch you guys in the next one. Peace out. I'm out.